In the Bible, the books of Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel contain inspiring teachings. These books are a landmark in Old Testament theology because this period marked a turning point in the Israelis' history, following the temple's destruction, the interruption of its ritual, the exile of leaders, and the loss of national sovereignty. During this period of turbulence, the Israelis began confessing their sins and grief over their suffering and humiliation and submitted to merited punishment. Despite hardships and disgrace, they remained God-fearing and adhered firmly to their beliefs, culture, and tradition. Although in exile, they refused to believe in their master's ideals and principles. Their prophets and men of God were steadfast, ensuring they passed down to the people God's wish for them and their experiences before and after they went into exile. They believed in the constancy of God's love and the power to restore. These prophets remained intransigent, carefully tracing why they went into exile and how and what they needed to do to escape this undesired situation. Drawing from the Israelis' mentioned experience, the Africans' diaspora situation may not be similar but reminiscent of some reasons for migrating. Hence, aligning our goals with our norms, ideals, culture, and traditions is necessary. When we fall prey to the mirage of a comfortable and happy life, we destroy our psyche and the generation we are creating. Before leaving Africa, we were first a group belonging to a specific tribe or group from one particular zonation. These aspects are primary in our lives and existence, and we must pass down this information and knowledge to our children and the coming generation, no matter where they are born or live. As a people out of their countries, we are creating a new society, the kind one may consider lost, the reasons being our unwillingness and lukewarm attitude in instilling onto our children the desire to value not only our culture and language but also learn it. The world is complex with unexpected happenings, and no one can determine the direction the wind would take during a storm. America or Europe we see today may be different in the next century or two. The human mind is good and evil personified. What we consider good today, nothing stops it from being evil tomorrow. It takes just an incident to reverse the course of history. Stepping out of your territory's shores as a diasporan is the more significant part of one's life because the movement follows the creation of a new generation of people. The central premise of why most of us left our countries in the first place is to help better the lives of our children and the future generation. Does anyone envision the way to achieve that objective is to make them European and American but not Africans? The answer to this question can never be yes. If it's, then something must be going wrong. In other words, we would blame God for making us who we are. Better still, we would blame God for bringing us into this world under a particular race, country, region, and tribe. If making them Europeans and Americans was the best option, African Americans wouldn't be wasting precious time, energy, and money trying to overcome 500 years of history. Today, thanks to DNA, African Americans can carry out a series of examinations to determine not only their countries of origin but also their tribe and, if possible, lineage. Besides, there are millions of people worldwide that can sincerely not be able to trace their origins. They may be claiming the nationality of their present country, but deep in them aware something is missing. And this will remain a challenge throughout their lives. What does this tell us about Africans whose origin is easily traceable? That there's nothing as important as knowing and honoring your origin. If there were documented evidence, African Americans wouldn't be going through all these scientific procedures, some of which are spurious and unreliable. This brings us to one key issue, the ability to document events and tell our stories, no matter how funny, crude, fetish, banal, and far from being modern they sound. These are the realities of our lives. They are our stories. We can't deny or run away from them. That makes us who we are and distinguishes us from other groups. We don't need to avoid our past, cultural traits, tradition, etiquette, mannerisms, and language. They may not be 100% good. No one culture is 100%. Every culture has its shortcomings. We are a witness to it here. We should drop those bad aspects of our society and teach the good ones. While doing so, we shouldn't forget we have the best human values. We value human life, fraternity, relationship, family, kinship, and the fear of God. We should be proud of these values and hold fast to them. And it should be our duty as parents to pass them on to this new African community we are creating. Our children may be Americans by birth and nationality. Still, they should remain Africans not only by the color of their skin but also roots, stumps, and branches that bind us together as a people with a dignified culture. There's no greater power, no distinguishable identity like culture and language. Since when did teaching your children how to speak your language become taboo? When I hear people fondly saying they are American children, Vuna leave people with that Vuna country talk, it beats my imagination how naive we Africans have become. What do we call Chinese, Latinos, and many other Asian countries whose children are born here yet speak their languages? With all seriousness, this is a daunting call. However, it's one to which we have to respond positively because we can do it. We didn't go to school to learn and study our mother tongue. Still, with modern technology and advanced knowledge, it's easy to adopt or fashion out a teaching method individually or collectively if we sincerely want and are determined to achieve this goal. We must not treat our children like strangers in our countries of origin. We would be doing ourselves great disfavor if we allowed the trappings of this society to influence our judgment and duty as Africans. In the words of legendary Bob Marley, "Don't let them fool you, don't let them school you." How do we feel when we speak our languages and our children don't understand? Embarrassed, disappointed, and shameful, I guess. Which kind of values and legacy are we preserving and passing on? We may dress and eat African, that's just a step in the right direction, but God knows, it's not enough if we can't teach our children these values. They will disappear as soon as this first generation of Africans perishes.